Welcome back, students. Welcome to biology classes. Today we are going to see 11 science biology, and we are going to see the next topics of chapter number 7, that is structural organization in animals. We have already covered most of the topics of this chapter, and yet we are left over with few anatomical systems of frog, right? So today we are going to start with the excretory system of frog. So the excretory system is what? It is the elimination of the nitrogenous waste. So whatever nitrogenous waste is present in the body of the frog, that has been eliminated out, right? Every toxic substance, that is every nitrogenous waste, is needed to be excreted out, and that is excreted out with the help of a system which is known as excretory system. Now there are several organs which are involved in the excretory system. Those are pair of kidneys, ureters, cloaca, and urinary bladder. So the pair of kidneys, they do possess kidneys through which the excretion is taking place. There is presence of ureters. These ureters are responsible for carrying the urine and bring it to the urinary bladder, right? The urinary bladder is the storage bag in which the urine is stored, and at last there is an opening which is known as cloaca, which is responsible for releasing out of the urine. Now let's talk about all these organs in detail. So the first one is the kidneys. The kidneys are compact, that means there is no space which is present, right? They are dark red and bean shaped, right? That is they are bean shaped and they are dark red in color, and their structures are such like beans, and for this reason the structures are situated little posteriorly in body cavity. That means on the posterior side it is present, and it is present on both the side of the vertebral column. So these kidneys are present on the lateral sides, right? So on this lateral sides, when the kidneys are present, right, they are responsible for carrying out the excretion. Fine. Next, now, these kidneys are composed of several structural and functions which are called as uriniferous tubules or nephrons. So, same way, as you know that the cells are said to be the structural and functional unit of all the living organisms, right? Same way, for performance or for the functioning of the kidney, there is presence of specialized cells which are known as nephrons. These nephrons are also known as uriniferous tubules. So this uriniferous tubules or the nephrons, they are said to be the structural and functional unit of excretory system. So without nephrons, the urine formation is not possible, right? So this is the function of the kidneys. So there is presence of nephrons inside the kidney, which is responsible for the production of the urine, right? Second is the ureters. There will be presence, as there is presence of two kidneys. So from the kidneys, whatever urine is formed, this urine is needed to be bring out, or it is needed to be passed on till the urinary bladder. So there is presence of, as two kidneys are there, that means two ureters are emerging out from the kidneys in the male frog, right? So in male frog, it is observed that two ureters, they are coming out or they are emerging out from the kidneys. These ureters act as urinogenital duct and which opens into the cloaca, right? Urinogenital, that means there is a single opening which is present and through which the urine as well as the genitals, right? That means the release of the sperms which is taking place, that is also due through this duct. For this reason, as two of the things are running through a single duct, this is known as urinogenital duct. And this urinogenital duct, it opens into the cloaca region. This is about the males. In females, the ureters and oviduct open separately into the cloaca. So here, when we are talking about the male, the ureters as well as the genital duct, right? Those two of them, they are the urine passage as well as the genital passage. These two of them are common, right? But in females, these two of them are different. In females, there will be presence of the oviduct. So the ureters as well as the oviduct, this both of them, they open separately into the cloaca region, right? Next is thin walled urinary bladder is present, which is ventrally present to the rectum and which also opens into cloaca, right? Then there is presence of urinary bladder, which is the temporary storage of the urine. Once the urinary bladder is it is contracting, then upon the contraction the urine is released out. So this urinary bladder is thin walled, and this urinary bladder, it is present on the ventral side of the rectum, right? And this urinary bladder, it is also opening into the cloaca region, right? Now frog is said to be the ureotic uh, animal, right? Because it excretes urea. Simply you can say that uricotelic like animal, right? Next, the excretory system is the removal of the excretory wastes, which is carried out by the blood into the kidney, where it is separated and excreted, right? So excretory system is working for what? That whatever waste is present, whatever excretory waste or the nitrogenous waste is present in the blood, this blood is brought up to the kidney, right? So the blood is passing through the kidney, and when the blood is passing to the kidney, all the waste material is being separated and extracted out, right? Next is, this is all about the excretory system of frog. Now we are going to see the nervous system, right? So the nervous system says that the frog has system for control and coordination. Now in the frog, there is presence of the nervous system for two things. First is for the control, and second is for the coordination purpose. Now this nervous system includes both the neural system as well as the endocrine glands, right? That means for the control and coordination, two systems are running in the nervous system, or we can say in the frog. First is the neural system and second is the endocrine glands or the endocrine system. Now the chemical coordination of various organs of body is achieved by hormones which are secreted by endocrine glands, right? So the chemical coordination, that means with the help of the hormones, when different organs of the body, right, they secrete what? Several endocrine glands, right? Sorry, they secrete several hormones which are secreted by the endocrine glands. So there will be presence of endocrine glands, and this endocrine glands, they release hormones, and with the help of this hormones, the control as well as the coordination of the other organs is being carried out. As this coordination is being carried out with the help of the chemicals which are released, which are known as hormones, for this reason, this type of coordination is known as chemical coordination, right? Next is prominent endocrine glands are also present. So now there will be presence of several endocrine glands, right? Which are pituitary gland, thyroid gland, parathyroid, thymus, pineal gland, right? Then pancreatic islets, then adrenals and gonads. So these are the prominent endocrine glands which are present in the body of the frog. Now let's talk about the nervous system. The nervous system is organized into central nervous system. So it is see, the nervous system of frog is composed of the brain and the spinal cord, right? And as it is composed of main two things, that is the brain and spinal cord, this is coming under the central nervous system. So in the central nervous system, brain and spinal cord is present. In the peripheral nervous system, cranial and spinal nerves are forming, right? That means wherever the cranial and spinal nerves are there, that is composing the peripheral nervous system, right? That means it is only made up of the two different types of nerves. First is the cranial nerves, which is present in the head region, and second is the spinal nerves, which is present in the spinal cord region, right? The third type of system is the autonomous nervous system, in which the sympathetic and parasympathetic type of system runs, right? That means the reflex action and the reflex arc which is taking place, that is all coming under the autonomous nervous system. Now there will be presence of 10 pairs of cranial nerves which are arising from the brain. This can be asked in MCQ, that how many cranial nerves are arising from the brain in frog. So that is 10 pairs, right? Now the brain is enclosed in a bony structure which is called brain box, which is simply said to be the cranium. See, whatever skull you are having, right? Same way frogs also do possess such type of hard bony structure, and that is known as cranium, and simply it is known as brain box, because inside that cranium there is presence of the brain. So nothing another, the brain box is responsible for enclosing the brain, and it is providing the protection to the inner organ, that is brain. Now, the brain is divided into three main parts: the forebrain, midbrain, and the hindbrain, right? So these are the types of the brain, right? That is the forebrain, midbrain, and the hindbrain. Now, in the nervous system of frog, the forebrain includes what? The olfactory lobes, then paired cerebral hemispheres, and and unpaired encephalon, right? Diencephalon. That means there is presence of two hemispheres, and for this reason, what it is known as diencephalon. But as they are not paired, that means they are not present in pair. For this reason, they are said to be the unpaired regions, right? There will be also presence of the paired cerebral hemisphere. That means the cerebral part, that is the brain, is divided into two equal halves, and those two equal halves are said to be the hemispheres, right? As those two of the hemispheres are made up of cerebrum, for this reason it is known as cerebral hemispheres. There is also presence of olfactory lobes, which is responsible for giving the responses in relation with the different types of stimulus, right? Next is the midbrain. This midbrain is characterized by the pair of optic lobes. Optic lobes, that means whatever you visualize, right? Whatever you see, whatever you get the images, and whatever you derive, whatever information you derive from that image, that is coming under the midbrain. So optic lobes is what? About the vision, right? The hindbrain consists of the cerebellum and medulla oblongata, right? So it is again same as the humans. So the hindbrain, it is consisting of the cerebellum, which is simply said as the small brain. And also there will be presence of the medulla oblongata. Inside this medulla oblongata, there will be presence of the spinal cord. Further out of that, the spinal cord is extended and it is coming under, and there is a protection on the spinal cord, which is known as the vertebral column, right? This medulla oblongata, it passes out through the foramen magnum and it continues into the spinal cord, which is enclosed in the vertebral column. As I said that this medulla oblongata, it is passing, right? It is passing out through the foramen magnum. So there will be the presence of a membrane, or we can simply say as a layer, which is known as foramen magnum. And this foramen magnum, it further continues and elongates into the spinal cord, and this spinal cord is enclosed inside the vertebral column. So now another vertebral column is giving the protection to the spinal cord, right? Now there is presence of sense organs also, right? So there are several sense organs. That is the organ of touch, that is sensory papillae. Then there will be presence of the taste. For the taste also there is presence of sense organs, right? And those are taste buds, right? Next is for the vision, eyes are present. For the smell, nasal epithelium is present. For hearing, tympanum, which is acting as the internal ears, or we can simply say as the ears. So there is presence of five sensory organs. First is the sensory papillae, that is for the touch. Taste buds, that is for the taste. Nasal epithelium, that is for the smell. Eyes, that is for the vision. And the tympanum, that is for hearing. So these are the five different sense organs which are present inside the frog. This can be asked in the short question, right? And in this, the eyes and ears, these two of them are well organized structures. That means they are well developed structures, or we can simply say that they are well developed organs. And rest are the cellular aggregations around nerve endings. And the other sense organs, they are made up of different cells, and this different cells, they are made up of several nerve endings, right? Now the eyes in frog, they are pair, right? They are present in pair, and this eyes are spherical in shape, right? So that means they are round, they have round eyes, and they are situated in the orbit in the skull. That means same as the humans, again there will be presence of the cranium, that is the skull, right? And this skull is having small two orbits in which there will be the fixing of the two different eyes. That means two different, that means these two of them are not fused with each other, but they are comparatively unfused with each other. That means two different eyes are present in two different orbits. And the eyes in frog, they, that is simple eyes. While we saw about the cockroach, the eyes of cockroach were compound eyes, but while we are talking about the frog does possess the simple eyes. Now the external ears which are absent, the external ears are absent in the frog, but there is presence of the tympanum, which is acting as the ear, and it does possess the internal ear mechanisms, right? So tympanum can be seen externally, but the external ears are not visible in the frog, right? Next is, this ear is the organ for the hearing as well as the balancing. That means the which is the equilibrium which is needed to be maintained, right, or balanced, that is also been carried out by the ear, because sometimes the frog is just responding in accordance with the whatever he or whatever they hear, right? So based upon the hearing also they do balancing, and that is simply said to be the equilibrium. So this is about the nervous system, in which we saw about the nervous system as well as the chemical coordination, that is through the endocrine glands, right? Now we are going to start with the reproductive system, and in the reproductive system first we will see about the male reproductive system. So in the male reproductive system, the frogs have well organized male and female reproductive system, right? In the male, organs are pair of yellowish ovoid testis. That means ovoid, that means it is having a shape of a egg, right? So for this reason they are the male is containing the testis, which is present in pair, and the color of it is yellowish, right? And these are found adhered to upper part of kidneys by double fold of peritoneum, which is called as mesorchium, right? Mesorchium. So this mesorchium, this is present, that is two layers of presence, two layers are present, which is responsible for giving the protection to the inner testis, and these testes are present, which are present nearby to the kidneys, right? That is on the upper part portion of the kidneys there will be presence of the testes. Now there will be presence of vasa efferentia. Again, this vasa efferentia is going to do what? They are going to carry all the sperms which are released, right? So the passing of the sperms is carried out with by the vasa efferentia. So 10 to 12 in number. So a vasa efferentia will be present in 10 to 12 number, and they arise from the testes. They enter kidneys on their side and opens into the Beeder's canal. So there will be presence of a Beeder's canal, right? This can be asked in MCQ, that in which canal the vasa efferentia opens, right? So these vasa efferentia, they enter the kidneys, right, on the side of the kidneys, and then on the side, from the side of the kidneys they open into a canal which is known as the Beeder's canal. And finally, this communicates with the urinogenital duct that comes out of the kidney and opens into the cloaca. So once the vasa efferentia opens into the kidney, this kidneys does possess the a duct which is known as the urinogenital duct. So what happens, whatever secretion which has been carried out by the testes, everything is passed inside the kidneys, and from this kidneys again it communicates with the urinogenital duct, and from urinogenital duct it is coming out and it opens into the cloaca, right? So the cloaca is a small median chambers that is used to pass fecal matter, urine and sperms to exterior. So the cloaca in males, it is responsible for doing three functions. First, it is responsible for passing the fecal material, that is the stool, right? Second, it also passes the urine, and the third, it also passes the sperms. So three things are passing from a single opening in the male, and that is the cloaca, right? Next is the female reproductive system. In females, there will be presence of pair of ovaries. So as the male was containing the pair of testes, same way here the females, they are containing the pair of ovaries. This ovaries are situated near the kidneys. Again in females also it will be nearby to the kidneys only, but here there will be no function of the kidney in female, right? It is only playing role in the males, only because they have a single duct, that is a urinogenital duct, and for this reason it is needed to pass the sperms through the kidneys to get it open into the urinogenital duct. But here when we are talking about the females, as there is no presence, or as there is no presence of such duct, because two of the openings are different, right? For this reason, in females, the kidneys have no function in the reproductive system. Right now, this pair of there will be presence of oviduct. Again, this oviduct will be present in pair, and this pair of oviduct, they arise from ovaries and they opens into the cloaca region. So directly the oviducts are opening into the cloaca region, which is arising from the ovaries. So ovaries, it is going to release the gametes, right? That is the female gamete, and this female gamete is passing through the oviduct, and this oviduct, it opens to the cloaca region. Now a mature female, it lays 2500 to 3000 ova at one time. So here, when same way, like in females, when we are talking about humans, only one egg is released, but here when we are talking about frog, there is the female, the female frog, right, a mature female frog, it lays 2500 to 3000 ova. That means at one single time 2500 to 3000 eggs are being formed, right? And the fertilization in the females, it is observed external. That means they are releasing out in the water, right? That means externally the fertilization is taking place, and the development will be the larval stage, and that is known as tadpole stage, right? So as the fertilization is external, that means the development will also be the indirect, right? And there will be presence of a larval stage, and this larval stage is known as the tadpole stage. So there will be present, the larva is said to be the tadpole, right? And this tadpole, they are metamorphosed to form the adult. That means this tadpole undergoes several changes, and when it becomes a mature one, then only it becomes the adult, right? And the frogs are beneficial for mankind, as they eat insects and protect the crops. So the first function why the frogs are important, or how the frogs are benefited or beneficial to the mankind, that is that they eat the insects, and with the help of this they are protecting the crops. Also the frogs maintain the ecological balance and serve as an important link of food chain and food web in the ecosystem. So frog, they maintain and balance the food web as well as the food chain in the ecosystem, and this way we complete here the chapter number 7, and that is the structural organization in organism, right? I hope you are very clear with today's topic, and I hope to see you again. Thank you.